And you are actually going to start. I know I'm sitting, but you are actually going to start laying down on your back. So take a few moments to allow yourself to get comfortable on your back. And if you did grab a pillow, remember you can always put that pillow underneath your knees, or alternatively, something I really like to do is place that pillow underneath my calves so that my feet are also lifted. Let your arms rest wherever they are comfortable resting. If that is by your sides, just let the palms face up towards the ceiling. It opens your chest up just a little bit more, allows you to feel as though you are open to receiving whatever comes today. And the eyes will gently close if they're not already. And we'll begin with 3 cleansing breaths here. So just very gently breathing in through the nose and allowing the mouth to open and sighing out through the mouth. And doing that 3 times. After you finish the third sigh out through the mouth, begin to breathe just solely in and out through the nose. A side note on that is certainly it is cold and flu season. So if your nose is stuffy, then breathe through the mouth. But otherwise, nostril breathing begins. And I alluded earlier to the fact that we will work on a Vipassana meditation at the end of the class. And really, it's just a different word for something that we've been working on for many, many weeks now. And it is a present moment awareness, an awareness of the breath and its never ending cycle. And so take a moment right now just to follow the breath as it comes into the nose. And notice the physical sensations that occur as the lungs inflate. And follow that inhalation all the way in until the exhalation begins. And again, you notice, you observe whatever physical sensations occur as the breath is leaving the body. It's okay if your mind begins to wander, if you begin to think or plan. Remember, without judgment, you notice that, you observe it, and you come back to your breathing. And just following the sensations gently in and following the sensations gently out. And then lastly, before we begin our moving here in a moment, think about something that you are open to receiving today. And then you'll start to let the fingers and toes wiggle just a little bit. Maybe the wrists and the ankles roll around. And I always invite you to keep your eyes closed if you like to keep your eyes closed during our portion of movement on our backs. It's completely fine to do that. If you prefer your eyes open, go ahead and do that. You're just going to hug those knees in towards the chest here and give them a nice tight squeeze. So if you're able to reach around and grab the shins, do that. And if that's not a possibility for you today, you can grab behind your thighs and just draw those knees in nice and tight. And you're gently going to rock side to side. So it doesn't have to be a really big movement, it can be quite small, actually, especially if this is your first kind of stretch of the day. It might feel tight. Of course, I understand we are holding our legs with our arms, but notice if there's tension in the shoulders and neck. Maybe take a sigh and just let that space relax as you keep rocking a little side to side. Very nice. All right, keep that right knee in, and you're just going to take the left leg, bring it flat onto your mat, and you want to flex the left foot. So that's the leg that's on the mat. The heel pushes away, and the toes are going to pull back. You should feel that left leg engage. Okay, so that's like essentially your anchor. And then your right hand's going to be on that right knee, and you're just going to roll that right leg in a circle. Okay. If you want a little more challenge on the abdominals, okay, you might take both hands down, palms facing the floor, and let the leg and the abdominal muscles be what moves that right leg in circles. If you're taking that second option, know you can also make your circles a little bit bigger, but focus on the left leg. So I know the right one is the one that we are moving. Okay. The left leg keeps you grounded. Press through the heel, down through the thigh. And then reverse that circle. Bring it around the other direction. Lovely. All righty. Right leg's going to come down straight onto the mat. Flex the foot. Push the heel away. Let the toes pull back. And then now draw that left knee in. Again, maybe starting this out just with your left hand on the knee and making those smaller circles. Notice how this feels, right? Because just because you took your hand off on the other side doesn't mean you need to take it off on this side. Just assess each side separately. If you do decide you want a little more engagement, a little more challenge, go ahead and put that left hand on the floor, palm down, and rotate that left leg in circles. All right, again, the circles can be a little bigger. You don't have the restriction of the arm. But breathe, big breaths in, slow and relaxed. breaths out. Good. Reverse that circle. Bring it around the other direction. Okay, right leg is still pressing down to the mat, the heels extending away. Good. All righty. Bend that knee, right? Then bend both knees. Put your feet about hip distance apart here. And you're going to take your right hand, keep your head and shoulders on the floor, okay? But they're going to kind of move a little bit. Your right hand is going to draw down towards your right foot. So you're making a little bit of like a curve in the torso. It doesn't have to touch the foot. It's okay if it doesn't. Knees are bent. Now you can take your left arm and kind of maybe reach it straight out from the shoulder. Palm will face up. But if you feel like you want a little more stretch in that left side body, you can start to inch your left arm up further. Okay, so maybe it goes towards that top left corner of your mat. Maybe it goes closer up towards the head, right? And I want to give you some time here to play around with this, okay? Because there's lots of different positions. You might have your arms straight and feel the most immense amount of stretch. For somebody else, they might want to bend their elbow, almost like a goal line post. God, that was not the right way to say that. Like, in football, the goal post that they kick. Anyway, we'll say like a cactus arm, right? Sometimes if you bend your elbow, you get a better stretch. So I want you to play around with where your arm needs to be and what position. And then when you find it, you're going to stay there. And we'll take some deep breaths. If you want to sigh, you can. Otherwise, slow exhales. And you're focusing on that left arm and the left shoulder and the left neck, relaxing on those exhales. And so keep taking those deep breaths in, letting it go out, and just feeling that space where we carry a lot of burden and a lot of pressure, a lot of pain emotionally, physically, rests on our shoulders and in our neck. Walk that left hand back. Its starting position. Use your arms to kind of shimmy yourself back to the center. Stay in the center before we go to the other side. Take a big breath in, big breath out. And you're going to do that again. I want you to feel the difference between the left side and the right side of the rib cage as you breathe in. And after you take that breath and you feel the opening on the left side, let's make sure we open the other side also. So go ahead and bring your left hand towards your foot. Your hips stay where they are. Okay, so you're making like this almost like a rainbow arch with the right torso. Okay, and then you can take your arm out to the side, palm facing up. Maybe you start to reach that arm a little higher, the right corner of the mat. Maybe you reach it up over the head. Maybe you bend the elbow. I will not make my super weird analogy there. Big flop on the other side. But just figure out where it's best for you. Okay? And it might be very different than it was on the other side. Okay. Remember one of my favorite sayings, we are bilateral, not symmetrical, right? We're two-sided, but no one ever said those two sides are the same, that they have to have the same flexibility. And then you pay attention to your breathing. Let that inhale deepen. And on the exhalation, whether it's through the nose or the mouth, right? Feel the neck relax. Feel the shoulder relax. Feel the arm relax. Good. Slowly shimmy your way back to center. We're going to take two more deep breaths in center here. Big inhalation, long exhalation. And again, big inhalation and a long exhalation. And then just take your feet a little wider than hip distance, maybe as wide as your mat if possible. And we're going to windshield wiper your knees side to side here. So flip the palms so they're facing the floor. And then just start to rock those knees side to side. Okay, so do this slow, right? Think of it not being a downpour, but it's just a light misting on the windshield. You're slowly moving those knees side to side. The next time the knees drop to the right side, stay there. And let that right inner thigh relax. And then take your left knee, push it away from your body like it's going to touch the wall on the other side of the room. Relax the right shoulder because it wants to press. You know it does. Breathe deep. And you should be feeling a stretch in the left hip flexor, the front of the left thigh here. Let yourself bring those knees back up to center. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to go to the left and we're going to pause there a moment. Good. And then you're going to push that right knee away from you. Left inner thigh relaxes, right knee pushes away. You should feel that right buttock lift up a little. And then as you breathe out, relax the left shoulder. It's not in charge. And then big, slow breaths here. Fantastic. Bring it all the way back to center one last time before we get off of our back. Bring those knees back into the chest here. Give them a nice tight squeeze. Hopefully the body feels a little bit different than it did when we first laid down. Both the knees in. Maybe you rock a little side to side. Great. All right. So from here, I want you to make your way onto your hands and knees. You can either roll to the side and come on up, or you can do a little spinal rock if you like. So you would grab behind your thighs here. You're going to point your toes. You're going to bring those knees nice and tight in, lift the head, and then just start to rock a little bit forward and back, like so. Good. And you can keep doing that. I threw my back out on Sunday, so I'm going to stop doing that. But if you are doing that, you come on up, right? And eventually you hold at the top for a moment, and then you bring yourself into that tabletop position. So hands and knees. Awesome. So on your hands and knees now, fingertips spread nice and wide. Remember, if this is ever uncomfortable on your wrists, all right, you can come onto your fists instead. Some people, our wrists are a little tender, and we'll just flow through a few cat cows here. So as you exhale, rounding the back, letting the head drop, letting the tailbone drop, maybe looking towards your belly button. As you inhale, reversing this, lifting the tailbone, lifting the chest, and looking forward as much as your neck allows. Focus on the shoulders. I think a lot of times we focus a lot in cat cow on our low back when we're doing this, but we played a little bit with this last week too, right? Focus with the shoulders. Press the hands down. Let the shoulder blades come away from the spine as you breathe out, right? As you breathe in, pull the shoulders back towards the spine. Think of them moving up towards the ceiling and then in towards the spine. And let that be the movement. All right, the next time you come to the exhalation where the back is rounded, I want everyone to stay there. See that exhale, rounded back, but keep breathing, please. Don't just exhale and hold it. And then focus on the neck. So just let the head sway a little side to side. And then bring it to center and take a sigh through the mouth. So a big breath in and a sigh through the mouth. Let the neck relax. Good. From here, come to a flat spine. You're going to bring your big toes together, take your knees pretty wide, and come into a child's pose. So, two options with child's pose. If you have a pillow with you and you want a more relaxing child's pose, you can bring that pillow and just kind of put it in between your thighs, and you can rest your torso on it, and then you can rest like on a cheek, right? Your arms can be out to this in front of you on the mat. If you want a little bit more of an active child's pose, you'll come to traditional child's pose where the arms reach out in front and the forehead rests on the mat. Whichever position you chose, one's not better than the other. Okay. I want you to focus on big, deep breathing, right? Inhale into the back body. Focus on the rib cage expanding as you breathe in. And on the whole body dropping and relaxing as you breathe out. And maybe you just ever so gently on the exhalation, press your hands down and forward to bring your hips, your glutes, a little bit closer to your feet. right? So the back is rounded, the low back is rounded, the tailbone is heavy in child's pose. I'm gonna get that side body stretch. If you're using a pillow, just bring your pillow with you. If you're not, then walk your arms over to the right. If the pillow is with you, just bring the pillow to the right, resituate yourself. Now, one of the little alignment tricks that you can use in this position to deepen the stretch that you feel on the left side is to take your left hand, maybe you put it on top of the right hand, or maybe you just reach that left hand further away from your body. But also, you want to draw the left hip back towards the left foot, right? So it's both. If I were in class in person, I would take one hand gently on your shoulder and I would take one hand gently on the hip and I would just pull them in different directions, right? So imagine somebody doing that to you right now, gently pulling the hip back and the shoulder forward. Walk it on over to the other side, of course. So arms over to the left and bring that pillow with you if you're using it. But you don't want to go so far that your hips have to lift up to get you there. Right? Remember, try to bring it back, bring those hips back. Maybe that right hand goes on top of the left, or maybe you just inch the fingertips a little bit further. And so, for those of you that have that tightness in the side body, kind of under the armpit, reaching that right arm is going to stretch that a little bit more. And then again, just imagine somebody is with you and one person or they are taking their hands and one hand is pushing that right shoulder a little bit further, but grounding your right hip at the same time. And you breathe into that right side body. You let it open. And then you let yourself just ever so gently come back to center. And then all the way up onto your hands and knees. Maybe let's just stretch the hip flexor out for a moment before we stand up. So take that right leg behind you, straighten it, tuck the toes, and then just push back through the heel a lot. But at the same time, reach your chest forward. Good. Now you can stay here. If you want a little bit more, you're going to lift that right leg up and then you're going to bend the right knee. Think of bringing your heel towards your glute and then you're going to straighten that right leg. So if you're doing that, you just move it back and forth a couple times here. We're not here too long. Little leg love. And let that right knee come back down. We'll go to the left side and then we'll stand up. So tuck the toes under, push back through the left heel, but reach forward through the chest. And then if you want more challenge, you're lifting that left leg up, and then maybe you're even bending the knees, squeeze the heel towards the buttock, and then straightening that leg, right? And it's slow. It's another thing we've been working on, I feel like for a few months now, is just slowing it down so that you can feel better, you can feel more. Good, one more. And then bring that knee down. Awesome. From here, make your way up to stand, however you do that most easily, and grab some water, please. All right. Great. Looks like the ones I can see look like you're ready. We'll do a few half sun salutations. I'll go through them pretty slow, especially for Julie. I know it's your first class, so that way you have an idea. And then we'll go through and do a couple a little bit quicker. So look down and make sure your feet are hip distance apart. And if there were a line going across your toes, one foot should not be further in front of the line than the other. So nice and level with toes pointing forward. Close your eyes for a moment here. We're just going to do Tadasana, which is mountain pose, and let your palms face forward. You should feel the shoulders kind of roll back and down when you do that. And notice what your default is. So, are you somebody who leans forward when you stand and your knees are locked? You are, soften the knees. Are you someone who's in your heels and your chest is dropped? If you are, lift the chest up, press the balls of the feet down. And then let the eyes open ever so gently. You're going to inhale, reach the arms up. If the arms cannot go up above the head, just reach them straight out to the side. That's an alternative option. You're going to exhale and you're going to reach the arms out to the side. It's called swan dive. Start to hinge from the hip and come into a forward fold. Let your head drop. The back is rounded. Now place your hands on your legs and straighten your back. It's called half lift. So you're just going to lift the chest so that your back is nice and straight. And then you're going to exhale and you're going to round that back again and let the head drop. Stay here for a moment. This is great to release the neck. Then you're going to come out of this forward fold the way that you came in. So press those feet down, reach the arms out to the side in that flat back, and then you reverse swan dive. You hinge at the hips, come all the way back to stand, arms above the head. And then exhale, take it to the heart. So that is our half sun salutation. We'll do another one slow and then a couple that are a little more up to tempo. Inhale, reach. As you exhale, swan dive, arms out to the side, hinge from the hips like you're flying down. Then let the back round and the head drop. Maybe take a sigh here. Place your hands on your shins. Lift the chest, flat back, half lift. As you exhale, round that back again. Let that head drop. Good. Press down through the knees a lot. Reverse swan dive. Arms out to the side. Slowly bring it all the way back up. Reach the arms high. And exhale, take it to the heart. Good. A little more up to tempo now, so a little bit faster. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold. Let that head drop. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, round the back, drop that head. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Bring it all the way up. Rise and shine. Good. Exhale, take it to your heart. Again, just like that. Inhale and reach. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Reach all the way back up. Inhale. Exhale, take it to the heart. Last one. Inhale, reach. Good. Exhale, forward fold. Round the back, drop the head. Beautiful, ladies. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Lovely. Inhale, rise and shine. Bring it all the way up. Good. Exhale, take it to the heart. Beautiful. All right. I want you stay the direction you are. I'm just moving so you can see me better. I want you to take your right arm and you're just going to slide it down. Right. We did this the other week and I got a big thumbs up on it. So I want to do it again. So you're going to reach that right arm down, press the left foot down a lot. Okay. Roll the shoulders back. Micro bend in the knees. Don't lock them for all my fellow lockers out there. All right. You might take that left arm out to the side. You might lift that left arm up diagonal. You might start to reach it up any amount, right? Your body is going to tell you when you've reached your limit. You stop at that limit, right? Remember how important that is. Breathe here. Low belly's in. Knees are soft. Good. Take that arm down. Then start to lift back up. Awesome. We're going to go to the other side. Otherwise, we'll be walking around in circles. All right. So left arm comes down. Roll the shoulders back. Make sure the knees are soft. So you want to set all this up. Otherwise, it makes your body not feel great. And I want your body to feel great. So make sure those knees are soft. Reach that arm out. Press that right foot down as that right arm lifts. And again, going to wherever it's good for you. Right? Doesn't matter what the other side looked like. It doesn't matter what you think you're supposed to be doing right now. Okay, what matters is that you listen to the body and you say, this feels good. I don't want to go further. And you stay there and you work with that part. And you breathe. Big breaths. Good. Take the arm down first before you lift up. Slowly bring yourself back up. All right, we're going to do a little balance here. Roll these shoulders back. I will say, actually, if you like to have your support of the wall for balance, you can put your back against the wall. You can hold the wall. You can, we're all at home. If you want to hold onto a chair or anything like that, you're welcome to do it. You don't have to. All righty. So right heel is going to lift. Just going to lift the right heel. Right, come up onto those toes. Hands can come to heart. Maybe you stay here. Okay. Left leg presses down a lot. Squeeze that left hip in. Squeeze it in. Keep it. Maybe you flex your right foot and you just let that right foot hover a bit. Maybe you start to bring that right knee up. You're not holding it. Okay. You can be in any of these positions. Toes on the floor. You could be hovering. Now, you can also reach your arms out to the side if you want a little more challenge on the balance. Remember, when you're balancing, the more you move, the harder it is. Also, if you don't breathe deep, it becomes a lot harder too. Good. However you came into this, you come out. So the hands come back together. You slowly release yourself all the way back down. Awesome. Let's go to the other side. One side's easier than the other. All righty. Hands at heart. Find something that you're looking at that's not moving. It's right. The one time I say don't look at the screen because we're all moving. We're all wobbling. All right. So come to the tippy toes, lifting that left heel. Squeeze this right hip in. We want to, as women especially, we want to just like hang out on this hip. Squeeze that butt in. Good. All right. Maybe you flex the foot and you hover. Maybe you start to lift the knee up using the muscles of the leg and the muscles of the torso. Maybe you start to extend the arms out. Okay. You can extend the arms out even if your toes are on the floor. Just if it feels good. Slowly come out of this the way that you came in. Hands come back together and gently release the hands or the foot back down. Awesome. All righty. So let's do a little hip circles and then we'll lay down and we'll do a little meditation. All righty. So feet pretty wide and again, just making big circles. I am not demonstrating huge circles. I mentioned earlier I completely threw my back out on Sunday. I'm not quite recovered. But if you want these circles to be big, okay, think of when your booty goes back, your chest comes all the way forward. Good. When the hips go to the right, the shoulders go to the left. Big circles. Perfect. Yes. Awesome. And then you're going to reverse it, of course. Bring it on around the other direction. Yes. All right. So go ahead and you can lie down. So I'll do kind of like what we do on Thursday. Of course, you lie down on your mat, put a blanket over you if you like. If you have a different place that you want to lie down, we're not doing any more stretching. Then you can, lay wherever you want to lay. Get in the lazy boy, get in the bed, do what feels good. Give you a few minutes to get yourself comfortable. Once you are laying in that comfortable position, allow the arms to rest by your sides, the palms facing up. And we're going to go through a little meditation called Vipassana meditation, and it's essentially working on mindfulness, which is present moment awareness. Okay. Your mind might drift. It's okay. Maybe take a first moment here just to allow your awareness to move through your body. And wherever possible, soften and release obvious places of physical tension. Relax in the shoulders, soften the hands, Relax the belly. And take a few very full breaths, aware of the inhale filling the lungs and aware of the exhale that is slow and gentle. And then allowing your breath to be natural. And notice where you most easily detect your breath. You might feel it as it flows in and out of your nose. You might feel the touch of the breath around your nostrils or your upper lip. Or perhaps you feel the movement of your chest and the rising and falling of your abdomen. But you bring your attention to the sensations of breathing in one of these areas, perhaps wherever you feel most distinctly. And remember that in mindfulness, there's no need to control the breath, to grasp for it. There's no right way of breathing. But with a relaxed and interested attention, just discover what the breath is really like as a changing experience of sensations. Now you will find the mind naturally drifts off into thoughts. Don't think of thoughts as a bad thing. You don't need to clear your mind of thoughts, but rather you're developing the capacity to recognize when thoughts are happening without getting lost in the storyline. So when you become aware of thinking, you might use a soft and friendly mental note, thinking, or this is a thought. And then without that judgment, we often bring pause and reawaken to the moment, this moment, and feeling the sensations again of your breathing. So you let the breath be home base, a place of full present moment awareness. And while you might notice other experiences, other sounds in the house, or the feeling of temperature, or an image of a future event, right? They can be in the background without drawing you away from the here-ness, from this moment. So be aware of the difference between being inside a thought and being awake, senses open, and present. There's a difference between the two. And again, when you notice that with a soft, open awareness, just notice the sensations. Notice any label that you need to put on it. And then return to mindfulness of breathing, or even perhaps listening to and feeling your moment to moment experience, being aware of that experience. Slowly breathing in, slowly breathing out. And something to note is that the particular sensations or emotions or thoughts that arise when we practice mindfulness are not so important. Like like the outer weather, there's no inherent goodness or badness to the inner states that pull us away from the here and the now. But what really matters is our willingness to be awake and aware regardless of the weather, regardless of any storms that are within. And it's this unconditional presence that reveals the nature of trueness, of our authentic self, of reality. So continue to be here. And especially if the mind is not so distracted, you might let go of any anchors for attention and explore not controlling anything. Okay, not managing or manipulating your attention, not directing the mind, but letting your senses be wide open to the entire moment. Now you may remain here and kind of play with this present moment awareness. Or if you are ready to come back, you can wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can roll the wrists or the ankles. And in your own time, slowly let yourself come back up to sit comfortably, right? Stretch in any way that feels good. One of the lovely things about being in our own home during these practices is that if you want to stay and rest, you completely have the ability to do so. I will say to you, though, that I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you coming. I'm glad that you are giving yourself the gift of yoga and meditation and peace and relaxing. And these tools will carry with you forever. So I say to you, peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intentions. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Yay, little heart. But I love you all, and I hope you have an awesome, wonderful, super fun, great day. And remember whatever it was you said that you were open to in the beginning of class today. Keep that in mind. So I will see you soon. Much love. Bye.